Hello, Guardians. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deerigan. Alongside me, as always, is the man who has a mission to space, Josh Finney.
Oh my god, I'm tired thinking about how tired I'm going to be. This is it's really cool. Like really cool shit's happening. Starfield went live like 30 minutes ago. I had enough time to get through the like quick little intro quest, the mining laser, and then you design your character. I literally just finished by designing and naming my character when Corey was like, "Hey, I'm ready." I'm like, "Oh shit, okay." So the game is on pause in the living room because I'm afraid to turn off the Xbox right now.
Yeah.
It took me 15 minutes to get in because everybody is just slamming it.
Yeah.
So I know we had a couple of questions already. Gus on Twitter was tweeting at me earlier and was like, should we be expecting a Starfield Casuals episode anytime soon? Not on this feed.
Yeah.
We're going to do it on the Xbox Casuals feed. It's going to be the next episode we do there.
Yeah.
So look for that, not Labor Day, but the following Tuesday. Look for it the following Tuesday. So like,
I think the 12th.
The 12th.
Yeah.
Look for it then. We'll have had almost 2 weeks with the game by that point.
Mm-hmm.
My hope is that I'm starting on New Game Plus by then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
From everything I read, people are like, just blow through the main story and get to New Game Plus.
Yeah.
So I'm going to save a lot of the side
online
quests and a lot of the factions until then.
Yeah.
I think it was Tom Warren over at The Verge said it took the main story, just him beelining that took like 25 hours. So that's pretty hefty for a main quest.
Yeah, I think who was talking? Maybe it was Gene Park said he blew through the campaign in like 21 or something. Yeah,
the general consensus seems to be it takes about 20 to 25 hours for the main campaign, which I think is pretty healthy for a game this big.
Yeah.
There obviously is a fair amount of controversy around the game. We are starting off with Starfield corner.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit of controversy around the scores.
I mean, they're just kind of like, I mean, they're not, none of them are like bad, but like,
no, I think there were two that were particularly baffling, I think, to a lot of fans. And that was the IGN and GameSpot reviews. Both gave them 7 out of 10s.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to speak to that because I was baffled when I saw them too. And then I saw who reviewed them and I was like, okay, so Dan Stapleton over at IGN. I don't often agree with Dan, but Dan does typically review Bethesda games for them. For instance, he reviewed Fallout 4 and he's been really candid in the past few years about saying like, I probably gave Fallout 4 too high of a score. I think he gave it like a 9 or a 9.5.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of us, when we figured out he was the one reviewing, were like, oh, he's probably going to err on the side of caution here. And then Michael Hyman over at GameSpot, there's probably not a better RPG reviewer out there these days who like just like specifically nails it with RPGs.
Mm-hmm.
And I read his review. I thought it was really good. I could already tell though, like I'm probably going to disagree with this vehemently. Mm-hmm. The main complaint I've seen seems to be like, it's more of the same, and if you like games like that, congratulations. This is like the dream Bethesda game.
Yeah.
Like even like the more negative reviews have basically said this is the Bethesda formula perfected. Yeah. The main complaints I've seen have come down to the UI, apparently an extremely slow start to the game. Dan basically said once he got through the opening sections of the game, he was like, I forced my way through them, blah, blah, blah. Once I forced my way through them, though, he's like, I had a blast. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if that merits a 7. Yeah. But like it definitely read more positive than the score was. I think my favorite tidbit I saw today was from VGC, and I actually wanted to read this. We talk about VGC a lot on Xbox Casuals. They've got some great reporters over there. Andy Robinson, Jordan Midler, Chris Dierig is not necessarily part of them, but Games Industry is a sister publication. And I sent this to our friend Ray this morning when I saw it. Literally the beginning of the review reads off like basically the byline of it. There are a few games as overwhelming as Starfield. It feels like that moment when you first emerge from Vault 101 in Fallout 3, gawping at its scale expanded across an entire game. The sense of wonder, adventure, and possibility is an intoxicating trick that never wore off during my 100 plus hours with the game. That's a wild statement to say, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I saw basically all Fallout 4 had to offer in the base game probably in about 75 hours or so. So to hear that there's like another 25 to 35 hours just in like the base game without even going into, I don't know how much people went into New Game Plus. I didn't read a lot of the reviews. I want to largely stay completely oblivious to the workings of it.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, there's a lot of really cool backgrounds you can choose from in there. There's some traits that I think people are going to find interesting. That may hint at a few things. The character creator is wild. There's so many options. I don't think it's quite on the level of Cyberpunk, but it's definitely one of the better ones that we've seen in terms of the detail, in terms of what it lets you pick and things like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can't speak too much beyond that, but it's got at last check, it had like an 88, 89 on Metacritic.
Yeah, it's 88 right now.
That's really good. Yeah. There are people trying to spin this into a negative, and if that's your idea of a negative, I need you to go outside, touch some serious grass, and it's okay to enjoy something that's not a perfect 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
that's the other message I would give to people. I don't think it's an either or thing.
Plus, these are people's opinions. Like, someone's 7 could be someone's 9.5. Right?
I mean, like, I for example, I watched some smaller creators, listen to some reactions from some YouTubers and stuff that I like, who don't normally cover RPGs, but some that are in the Destiny community. Ibanez had a really good review. True Vanguard had a good one. And then I listened to a little bit of Kind of Funny's reactions, and it seems the consensus seems to be like, if you have a 5-point scale, you're probably giving it a 4, giving it a 4 or a 5 out of 5. I like a 5-point scale does give like a lot less maneuverability. But this is also one of those games I think is like, people are going to look at the number and be like, what the fuck? When you look at like some of these like 7s or even 8s, if you have a better experience with it. But I don't think a number can tell the whole story of a game that's 100 plus hours. I encountered the same problem with Persona 5. When I played Persona 5 Royale, I was like, this is a 10 out of 10, even though there were some really frustrating elements to it. After doing the base game and then doing New Game Plus in it, I was like, yeah, this is a 10 out of 10 for me, even though there are things that aggravate me. So, like, a 10 out of 10 is whatever you make it, right? Like, I know here, for example, Beyond Light is a really good example. We were, us and Colonel Panic and Nerd, we were all a lot more generous towards Beyond Light when that came out versus how we were a couple years later. Because, you get caught up in the moment. I think you always think of like the first time you played a game. So like for me, Cyberpunk, even though it was like in a state that people deemed unplayable, for me, it was playable on my Series X. I had a really good time with that game. But I recognize that now it's the developer's true vision. I'm actually really excited to start a new run through of that this later on this month. After I finish my initial time with Starfield, I'm really excited to dive into that for Phantom Liberty. I think that this game is going to be a fascinating study on reviews, on subscription services, on tentpole AAA releases. This is, Phil Spencer said it himself during Gamescom that this is probably the most important new IP for them since Gears of War, and I don't think that's really a debate.
Yeah, I don't.
I look at other IPs that they've launched, and I'm like, yeah, I don't. Maybe if like Alan Wake had stayed in and they had been doing Alan Wake 2 and like Control had been under the Xbox banner, maybe we'd say Alan Wake was the one. But in terms of like, because that spawned a whole universe and everything else, like I really think that it's true. Like, and we probably won't see another Starfield this decade. That's the wild thing to say.
Oh, like, I know.
This is so important. We probably won't see another one until Corey and I are well into our 40s.
Oh, gross.
Well, I'll probably be approaching 40. Corey will be in his 40s.
Yeah.
And that's a wild thing to think about. Like Skyrim came out my second year of college. And we still haven't had the follow-up to that yet. That just went into full production, like recently, according to Pete Hines.
Yeah.
The last thing I kind of want to touch on before we dive into Destiny talk is there's been a couple notes that Todd Howard's published this week. one to to Bethesda employees and Xbox employees and Microsoft and stuff in general, just saying, I can't believe we finally got to make this, blah blah blah, kind of recounting the story of how he pitched the game to Robert Altman back in 2013 and got him to sign off on it. And then there was the note he sent to reviewers, and I actually thought that was a really personal note. It got uploaded today. I think Tom Warren posted it over on The Verge, and basically he was like, we did our very first concept art for this game in late 2013 when Fallout 4 finished. We had a very small team, working on art and story and things like that. He's like, but we knew we had the fixed creation engine. He's like, this game took a lot longer to come out than I wanted it to. And he was very blunt about that. Like, I wanted this game out sooner. With the implication is that first they had the fixed creation and they had to do Creation Engine 2, and also 76 held them up. He says they didn't go into full production on this game until 2020 because of other factors like Creation Engine and 76, and then the pandemic hits. For this game to essentially have been the majority of its development from after the pandemic started until now is wild. Yeah. To cover that much ground, basically since the announcement of the purchase by Microsoft.
Yeah.
That's just a crazy thing. Game looks like it runs really, really well on the Series S. I've heard no complaints from anybody who's played it on there. I'm going to play a lot of it on there this weekend. I'm going to be laid up in bed. I'm really sick right now. Mm-hmm. And I'm just kind of pushing through. But it's as soon as I'm done with the raid race tomorrow, I am crawling in bed and I'm playing on the Series S until I pass out.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
Speaking of Series S version, I hear the Series S version is actually pretty incredible.
Yeah, Tom posted a 2-minute clip of him walking around in one of the cities on the Series S, and it was really stable. There were compromises made on the Series S, clearly, but we talk about this all the time with Nintendo consoles. First-party games are always going to look superior to a third-party effort. Mm-hmm. I saw some people trying to use this as weaponizing this against Larian, and it's no, you don't understand. First party is always, they're going to have the internal tools, they're going to have the internal developments. Don't forget, this game was delayed by 10 months.
Yeah.
I actually strongly suspect, one, I don't think it was feature complete, but I think a lot of the work done in this calendar year, in 2023, has been making sure it just fucking works.
Yeah.
You have a game that has 1,000 different planets. You have space stations, you have pirate ships out there, you have asteroid belts, you have all this other stuff that has to work. And Bethesda games keep track of every item in the game. Mm-hmm. That is just as cumbersome as what Baldur's Gate 3 is trying to do. The problem with Baldur's Gate 3 is you're trying to do that double on split screen.
Yeah.
So, it is no small feat that this game is running as well as it is. It seems to be, from everything that I've heard, I've talked to a couple people who got to review it, they have all personally said that this is the most polished Bethesda game, mm-hmm. and they feel that a lot of that is because they only had to focus on Xbox and PC.
Yeah.
Even Todd has said that. Us developing only for this ecosystem made it a lot easier. And Pete Hines said, if we were developing it for other consoles, this game would not be out this year.
Yeah.
Straight up, we would not have met the September release. This would have been a 2024 game.
Yeah, he said that during the FTC hearing.
Yeah, during the FTC hearing, and there were some implications of that in the interviews after the summer showcase. Mm-hmm. So I'll get off my my Starfield soapbox for this week.
Well, I'm gonna get on it real quick.
Oh, please
just
do.
For a minute.
Please do.
So I wasn't going to because I need to play the Destiny story because Tuesday I hit that weird Xbox update bug.
Yeah.
But I went ahead and got it anyway, the early access, and I'm beyond excited to play this game. Me, I like Bethesda games, but I'm not a huge Bethesda fan like you are, right?
No.
But man, I saw videos of people flying around on jetpacks, shooting guys, and doing whatever they're doing, and I just I can't not play this game.
I did. I took the background that it's Space Scoundrel, mm-hmm. So I have better aptitudes in pistols, piloting, and I named my character Han. As a matter of fact,
I knew it.
I had to, man. First playthrough, got to do it.
Yeah.
It has increased better abilities with pistols, with piloting, and with persuasion.
Mm.
So, and that's very much a me character too.
Yeah.
We were my girlfriend was sitting with me, and we were reading some of the descriptions, and there were like 3 or 4 of them, and she's like, "I could see you playing any of these styles." I'm like, "Yeah, I really want to go with the space scoundrel though. I'll probably go for like the thief next, because that's what I always play in Bethesda games, with like the sneak, the bartering, and things like that." For my first playthrough though, I want to play a little more aggressively.
Yeah.
So really put the combat systems to the test here, and then refine it for my New Game Plus.
Yeah. I also, now take this as you will, whatever. I know we kind of just talked about IGN giving it a 7, but I think a really big deal is that IGN Japan gave it a 10, which is like, I mean, Xbox has really been struggling to get an audience over there, right? And I mean, it's IGN Japan. I don't know how big they are, how small they are, if it's like,
I have no idea.
But the fact that 2 outlets in Japan gave this game a 10, right, and one of them was reviewed on a Series S, I feel like that's kind of a...
Yeah, I'm curious to see. I don't know if they posted their score yet. I'm curious to see what Famitsu said.
Yeah.
That's the big Japanese publication. You get a 40 out of 40, you're like one of the greatest games of all time. Mm-hmm. Historically, Bethesda games get like 37 out of 40, 37 or higher out of 40. So I'm really curious to see what happens there.
Which is terrible. Bad game.
Oh my God, terrible game. I'm very optimistic for my playtime. I sound like a real fanboy here, and like I'm pitching our Xbox show. I'm not, but if you want a lot of thoughts, I'll share some Starfield thoughts on next week's Tower Casuals. But full thoughts, we're going to spend the whole show, a couple Mondays from now, just talking Starfield.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. I'm super excited to see what this Constellation Collector's Edition looks like. Our friend Ray Apollo bought the $250 Collector's Edition with the watch.
Yeah.
And I'm going up there to visit him in a couple weeks to check it out. So we'll talk about that in a later episode towards the end of September. I think we'll circle back to that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's really cool, they restocked them on Amazon. I may have to like find $200 something bucks, even though we've had a lot of car bills this week.
Mm-hmm.
May have to like be like, can I get this for Christmas? Can you just like put it away because it looks really cool?
Yeah,
but
it does look cool. I like the case it comes in.
The way the case opens is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching videos of that already from Danny Pena,
mm-hmm.
and then the last thing I'll say. The main menu music, the main theme is instantly iconic for me.
Yeah.
It's the same theme. You've heard it at the end of the couple Starfield presentations they've done with like the really like low horn and stuff. That is an instantly iconic jingle to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very excited.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But Corey,
do
we have any final thoughts before we get to the Destiny?
No, I'm excited to play it, and full thoughts, like we said, like a week and a half on Xbox Casuals. By the way, shout out to all the people who are listening to Xbox Casuals. I was not expecting that, but it's shout out. But it's time for Destiny.
It is in fact time for Destiny. Sorry, we've been having some family things going on this week. In addition to me being super sick, I'm actually like really behind. I gotta get this TWAB pulled up. We do have some TWAB tonight.
Yeah. By the way,
not much.
By the way, Sea of Stars. While you're pulling that up, pretty good too.
Hit me on the other Star game that we have. I haven't been able to start it yet.
Yeah, it's I played like the first hour of it. It's
okay.
Another game that starts slow. There's like a 10-minute sequence where you're listening, not even listening, you're reading some guy called the Archivist talk about the history of the world and all that stuff, and like basically setting up the story of the game. And I'm like, okay, come on, let's go. I'm sure I know it's like really important to the story, but once you get into it, man, it's like it's a really cool JRPG that's like you're running around the world and the enemies appear on screen and you like run into them and then like this flash happens and you like jump back and start your battle. Like the battles happen in the area that you're like running around. It's really cool. I think the art's really cool. I think there's a lot of diversity in the environments and the abilities that you kind of learn throughout the journey, and some flashback stuff. It was super cool to see. So yeah, Sea of Stars is pretty good too. I don't know how much more I'm going to play with Starfield in this season of Destiny, but I'll get to it eventually. But I wanted to at least try it out before we got dumped on here.
Oh, we really did. And this is the beginning of the busy season. I was having this conversation with a few friends, and I was like, I haven't finished Tears of the Kingdom yet. I haven't touched it since the end of May. Basically, since Diablo 4 went into early access, I haven't touched it.
Yeah.
So I've just been like consistently busy.
Yeah.
I took kind of a gaming break the last couple of weeks, and I just don't know a nice way to say it. I may not get back to it before Game of the Year conversations.
Yeah,
we are so busy. There's Starfield, there's Sea of Stars, there's Lies of P, there's Payday 3, there's Jasant, there's Spider-Man 2, Alan Wake 2, Forza Motorsport, Assassin's Creed Mirage, Mario Brothers Wonder, Super Mario RPG, Persona 5 Tactica, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. I'm not saying I'm going to play all of these. Like, I still haven't touched Baldur's Gate 3. Like, there are so many games. This is, I think, undoubtedly, we can say at this point, for the level of consistency that we've had on reviews already and the anticipated reviews we're going to see for things like Alan Wake and Spider-Man and the Mario games and whatnot, this is the best year for gaming possibly ever.
Yeah. Dude, Mario Wonder looks incredible.
It looks so good, and it's like not even in my top 10 anticipated for the rest of the year. Yeah. Like, that is probably a game that I won't touch until Christmas.
Yeah.
Because we'll probably buy it at Christmas and like play it with my stepsister. But I'm excited to play it, but
yeah. It looks really good.
So, but guys, we promised you a Destiny show. We've got a Destiny show. I promise. We have a lot of questions from you guys. We have a killer cutscene to discuss a little bit of that I will attempt to discuss in my haziness. And we got a TWAB. We got a raid race to talk about. Going to be just kind of a short, sweet, and to the point show tonight. Yeah. You guys gave us like 16 questions. No joke.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that we hit those. We got a lot of really good questions in there. But let's jump to it. By the time you're listening to this, chances are contest mode is up. I know a lot of y'all listen on Fridays on your commute to or from work. Contest mode does go live at 12 p.m. Central. The typical things, of course, 1790 power to be at the cap for all encounters. And to give servers room to breathe, no bounty or weapon crafting progress for combatant kills below boss tier within Kingsfall and Crota's End while contest mode is enabled. When the first team completes the raid and subsequent challenges, will verify that and proclaim them world first winners via the Destiny the Game Twitter account. However, we'll still be performing a thorough security validation, and if we find any activity that breaks the world's first rules, we'll disqualify that team and award the next team the belt. So they basically just want to make sure that you're getting the confirmation from them and that people aren't giving up because they heard that somebody got it. Mm-hmm. The biggest story in the TWAB this week, though, Necrochasm is back, baby.
Yeah, that's
one
cool,
of the most
man.
beloved D1 exotics. It was really one of those, like, along with Mythoclast, that really like highlighted, oh shit, really cool weapons can come out of these raids.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the 4 weapons that came out of the raids, and it's like Vex Mythoclast, Necrochasm, which Necrochasm was really cool because there was a quest associated with it, with Husk of the Pit and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think Necrochasm was tied to the raid to, like, you didn't have to finish the raid to start the quest. I believe that was, you had to get Husk of the Pit from killing a random Hive Knight in the Cosmodrome.
Yeah.
And then you eventually, like, had to beat Crota and get part of the Oversoul and things like that. But you had to do it on hard mode. A lot of us never got it. The actual exotic associated with Crota was No Land Beyond.
Mm-hmm.
The fabled sniper rifle that became more of a meme than anything.
I hate No Land Beyond, dude.
The bolt action sniper.
Dude, anytime you went into Crucible in D1,
if you got killed by that, you knew that you were facing a sweat.
Yeah. Ugh.
I'm really glad that this is the weapon associated with the raid this time around. It makes sense that this is. If there was No Land Beyond, I think I think that like D1 players would have appreciated the novelty and like the joke about it.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy that this is the weapon that they're giving us. That makes me think that No Land Beyond will come back at some point in the anniversary as a joke.
Yeah.
Considering they've already said we're going to get Red Death, Kovstov, and Dragon's Breath all back.
Yeah. Dude, I can't wait for Red Death. I loved Red Death.
We're going to talk about Red Death later on. We have a question about it tonight.
Yeah.
But Necrochasm is really cool here because it's going to be tied to a quest line this time. So it's their first raid exotic that's been tied to a quest since Divinity.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not one of those where, you have to go pick it up and you have to do these steps beforehand with it like Divinity. This is you cannot even pick up the quest until you've finished Crota's End once.
Yeah.
But what they're going to do is, this is really cool, and this is definitely a way to get people into the raid race. I think they knew, like, with it being Starfield Early Access, there's a Diablo extra XP and a double XP and double gold weekend going on right now as well. I think this was their way of saying, hey, we've still got really cool shit going on in Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a few people are kind of upset because this made them like either change plans or they made other plans. Just like, it's Crota, we'll do it whenever. Now they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because players that acquire the Bottomless Pit quest from the raid vendor, so from the raid chest after you defeat Crota, during the 48-hour contest mode period in Crota's End will have the quest automatically marked as complete and all rewards placed in their inventory immediately. The quest will not require any currencies to purchase it, and your rewards will include Husk of the Pit, Eidolon Alloy, fully masterworked.
Ooh.
So both of those are auto rifles.
Yeah.
Husk of the Pit is, if they keep it to where it was a white auto rifle. Eidolon Ally is a legendary. And then Necrochasm. That is awesome.
Yeah.
What a perk for people coming in to do contests. I think that this would get so many more people interested in doing contest modes if you did this more regularly. I'm not saying do it for every raid, but especially for these reprised raids, I think just what a great idea.
Yeah, this is cool.
We were trying to figure out this afternoon that this means that you have to also complete it on challenge mode. And the wording here, they keep saying just contest mode.
Yeah. Which is
so
great.
It really makes me think that it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So
this is cool, man. This is a great thing.
This is a great thing. Another note here. So there's a couple of other notes here. Players will notice they can acquire Essence of the Oversoul from completing raid encounters and triumphs. This is required to complete the Bottomless Pit quest if you do not finish within the contest mode, as well as to complete the Weapons Catalyst objectives for Necrochasm. During contest mode, players who obtain the Weapon Catalyst will not be able to progress the objective on it and will statically show the objective progress at 20 out of 35 Essence of Oversoul collected, regardless if they collect additional essences. After contest mode ends, all Essence of Oversoul that the player has acquired thus far will still be respected, and the player may begin making progress on the Catalyst, continuing from the number they previously acquired. If you acquire the quest after the 48-hour contest mode, you will have to complete the quest starting from the beginning to obtain the quest rewards. This is awesome. Yeah. I want to see more of this.
Yeah.
Especially and I mean, like, let's be honest, there's not a lot of hype going into Crota weekend. This is like the most muted I've seen the rating in a while.
Yeah.
About excitement for a raid. And I hope that this, and I expect it to bounce back for the final shape.
Yeah.
But I think after how easy Root of Nightmares was this year, and now with Crota coming back, there's been some doubts about the challenge of raiding.
Yeah.
And I echo that myself. I'm not opposed to there being some entry level raids, but I do worry that Crota is going to be another one of those, like, hey, we're going to make it a little challenging for contest, but if you're just handing out the exotic like this, I don't think it's going to be that hard.
Yeah.
I think this is to like try and get those numbers up and try and encourage people to come play it. But regardless, I still really like this idea. I'd like to see this implemented for, like I said, for returning raids. I think this works. I don't want to see it on brand new raids.
Yeah.
But I think that if you could find a healthy medium of doing something like this and like doing quests for returning raids, I actually think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Maybe do them occasionally for the dungeons as well. Like there should be a healthy balance between RNG and, hey, if you just do this fucking quest, you can get. You might have to run the raid a couple of times, but you can get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's too much to ask for people to complete a raid 2 or 3 times to get an exotic.
Yeah.
It also is confirmed that we are getting 2 sets of armor in this.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if so. We speculated on the Age of Triumph armor last week a couple of times.
Yeah, we did.
I don't know if that's going to be in the base rewards or if that is going to be in the master mode. We'll know right away tomorrow. I suspect that the Age of Triumph armor is being saved for master mode. Personally,
yeah.
What would be really cool is if they kept that a surprise and basically said, "Hey, surprise! If you finished the raid during contest, you get access to the glowy armor early."
Yeah.
That would be really cool. But since we're already getting an exotic, I don't think so. Like, maybe if you complete challenge mode, you get the glowy armor early.
Yeah.
But again, like, that's about the only thing they could tell me to make me want to go do challenge at this point. I'd almost rather spend my time. I was talking about this with my team earlier. I'd almost rather spend my time getting people the guaranteed exotic than worrying about getting an emblem.
Yeah.
We're not competing for World Source. I mean, my team's not even going in until 2:30 Central, I don't think.
Yeah.
2:30, 3:30 Central, something like that is when we're starting. One of our team members has to work during the day, so we're starting a couple hours later. That's totally fine. I just wonder at what point are we going to be able to jump in and do that.
Yeah.
So
it's cool though. I love the look of the glowing armor. It's so much cooler.
The glowing armor looks Necrochasm looks awesome.
Yeah.
Just hats off to the design team again. It looks awesome. The promo images look so cool.
Yeah.
And of course, it's not a raid without some loot, right?
Sure it is.
Well, I'm talking about some physical goodies. This Crota raid ring is bitchin'.
Dude, the ring, the pin looks cool. The belt looks cool. Like, it all looks cool, man.
If the display poster wasn't like $80, I would consider it.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I've always regretted not getting the print they did of Vault of Glass, which was like $35, and I've always regretted not getting it.
Mm-hmm. If
this was like $30, $35, I probably would have gotten this.
Yeah.
This is so cool. I would have gotten this, framed it, and put it up above my desk. But I have a Excalibur plaque in the mail, so I can't be buying too many things.
Sure, you can.
The Sword Bearer title is really cool. I think the design for the seal is awesome too. It's the Oversoul.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That belt is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I can't wait. This is all really cool. And it's funny because it's like stuff that I'm not outside of the like generic Crota Zen pin that you get for just that you can earn for doing it this season.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to be buying anything else, but that's a really cool little memento to buy. I love how the raid pins look. I've gotten the raid and dungeon pins they've done so far, and I think they all look awesome.
Yeah.
Just wish that shipping didn't cost me like $12 an item.
I know.
Twitch Rivals is doing an event tomorrow. Again, if you're listening to this beyond Friday, this is probably irrelevant to you, but they are doing it. Professor Broman is going to be hosting it. We love Broman over here.
Love Broman. He's the guy. He's the guy that started me. Him and Gathalion were the two that got me to start watching streams.
Broman has since retired from competitive rating, just due to so I think there were some health concerns at some point.
Yeah, I think somewhere around like not for maybe Shadowkeep or Forsaken, maybe.
I want to say he stepped away before Deepstone because they started doing what they called raid tailgates.
Yeah.
And Bungie was like, "Hey, this is awesome. We want to partner with you on it." Now it's a whole thing with Twitch. There's a special emblem. I think the emblem looks cool. I'll always take a free emblem like that just for having a stream up. And since we're starting later, I'm going to watch a couple of teams go in and do it. Some smaller teams.
Yeah.
But yeah, from 10 a.m. on September 1st to 10 a.m. Pacific time on September 3rd, you can earn this by tuning in for 2 hours on the Twitch Rival channels or one of the approved participating streamers on a page that they have there. Some of the ones that you watch, of course, Datto, Frostbolt, Astacross, Grenader Jake, Fallout Plays. I will personally be watching Fallout, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
I like Fallout, and of course, Datto has long been the person that I go to for raid guides on week one for helping and teaching people. So excited for that. Corey, are you excited to go back to Crota?
I mean, kind of like. I mean, I think it's safe to say that Crota's our least favorite D1 raid, but I'm kind of excited to see like this whole hive story kind of come together, and in terms of like all the hive raids are back, and like all the hive gods are like kind of happening.
Almost all the strikes are in D2 also. Like we're really just missing Fogoth.
Yeah.
We're missing Fogoth, we're missing the Dark Blade, and that's about it.
Yeah. But I mean the Dark Blade is now the Light Blade, so like
right. And Omnigul has been turned into something else. I don't remember.
Yeah, but I'm excited to see how they change up some of the stuff. If they do, I'm excited to see like, hey, they fixed the bridge. Maybe they added another encounter there, or maybe there's like this whole other section. Maybe they added at some point, or I don't know. I'm kind of intrigued to see, and just kind of better take your Gallahorn and nobody let you play. No, I'm just kidding. But it's yeah, I'm kind of excited. Crota was the one, probably the second most played raid for me in D1, just because we were trying to get that moments of triumph and trying to get the flawless raider. And
so it's worth noting Bungie did send us a they did send out a an email today regarding Crota and your Crota memories from D1. With your first completion date, your total amount of clears, your carries, community clears, 93 million community clears of D1 Crota's End.
Wow.
And then if you acquired Necrozm and the amount of final blows. Yeah. It says I only have 8 total clears of Crota's End, and I know that I did it more than that. So I don't know how funky this is.
Yeah.
But I definitely had more than that. And then in terms of carries, I feel like I had more than that. But it's all good.
You said we got this today?
Yeah, it went out like maybe 2 hours ago. Oh, 4 hours ago, excuse me. It went out 4 hours ago.
Okay.
I will also say you can see the emblems that are going to be available tomorrow for the Twitch rivals for Crota's End during contest mode. Earned by completing Crota's End. I assume that's just a generic emblem. And then 10 Guardians to their first Crota's End clear. It's that one's really cool. It's one of the lamps from the Underdark. I think all these emblems look pretty cool. But yeah, I'm not going to kill myself to get that contest mode emblem if I don't have to.
Yeah.
I think that genuinely the regular Crota's End emblem looks way cooler.
Yeah.
But super excited for this. I'm a fan of Crota. It's the most nostalgic raid for me. That's really where I started wanting to like raid every week. Even though I think Vault and Wrath, even though I've never truly cleared Wrath, I've done all the encounters. And King's Fall, of course, I think are all much better. Crota's End has a lot of memories for me. That was always something that we low manned.
Yeah.
It was just fun.
Yeah.
It was just fun. That's kind of where we would just jump in and shoot the shit at reset. So
yeah, it was also
I'm excited to be back.
It was also like the raid where you were like teaching your friends who hadn't really played Destiny before.
Yeah, it was a great intro raid. That's a good point. It's worth noting this was the first raid that they had finished. As the stories go, Crota's End was actually done before Vault of Glass was finished. Which is kind of wild to think about, but originally Crota's End was supposed to be part of the base game.
Yeah.
So I guess it makes some sense.
Oh my gosh. First clear was, oh man, was January 9th, 2015, and I have 11 clears. Which I think
these stats are definitely buggy.
Yeah, this is a little low. That's fine.
But that's okay. That's fine. We all know the truth.
Yeah.
Corey, let's shift to another mode that you and I really like. Iron Banner is back.
Yeah, and the scout rifle's there too.
Iron Banner returns next Tuesday, and it is supposed to be the Fortress game mode type. The 2 weapons here, So week 1 is going to be Fortress. The second week, which is the week of October 10th, is going to be Control, and the final week, which is November 14th, is going to be Fortress again. I like that they spread these out finally.
Yeah.
And we're not getting like 2 in like with like 1 week in between.
Right.
This is really nice. So I'll actually get to participate in this weeks 2 and 3. I'll actually be participating.
Yeah.
Because I'm not playing this week outside of just some reset shenanigans. Mm-hmm. The 2 weapons coming back: Guiding Sight, which is a high impact scout rifle. It's going to be Strand.
Yes.
Some of the perks that can roll on this bad boy, and this is a Nadir weapon. So if you haven't looked at the Nadir Foundry, which is the new Foundry for this season, some really cool stuff. Same with the wild card perk on the Cassioid weapons. Cassioid, of course, is the one that made Telesto.
Yeah.
In game. But some of the perks that can roll on Guiding Sight include Demolitionist, Moving Target, Perpetual Motion, Tunnel Vision, Hatchling, Kill Clip, Cascade Point, and Precision Instrument. And then Point of the Stag is the Arc Precision Bow coming back. This was when they first attempted to do a Iron Banner Pinnacle weapon back during Season of the Worthy, and then they just never did it again.
Yeah.
You've been able to buy this thing from the kiosk for forever for dirt cheap.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm actually pretty excited about this. I like some of the traits that can roll on this. So some of them are No Distractions, Archer's Tempo, Slick Draw, Elemental Capacitor, Vorpal Weapon, Precision Instrument, Golden Tricorn, Dragonfly, and of course it comes with the Wild Card Origin trait. I'm very curious. The wild card trait, if you haven't seen it, spawns little mini Telesto bolts, basically.
Yeah.
So we've got a whole foundry doing this bullshit now.
Jeez. Great.
I got a pulse rifle last night with that on it, and it is wild. It's a 340 stasis pulse rifle, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun.
Nice.
So yeah, both of those are back. Interested to see how this scout rifle performs. I didn't really care for it the last time Guiding Sight was in the game. Point of the Stag is an old favorite, though. I'm not a big bow person. It's great. I do wish Volt Shot was on this, but that would probably make it like a legendary Trinity Ghoul, and I think they're really trying to avoid that.
Yeah.
Especially with a pinnacle weapon or a more pinnacle weapon.
Yeah.
There's a little bit in here about why at the launch of Season of the Witch we had cabbage errors, if you want to read about that. Kind of giving a little bit of a peek into the back end. Not going to go through that. It's a lot of stuff that we talked about in the past couple months. What about Stasis? There's been a lot of outcry about Stasis not being a part of the what do you call it? The artifact for the last couple of seasons.
I saw that.
For our Stasis lovers out there, we have some things coming up regarding abilities in Season 23. Not only will the seasonal artifact feature Stasis perks, but there will be some Stasis ability changes coming, including Glacial Quake, Frost Pulse, Winter Shroud, Glacial Grenade, and more. We'll have an artifact and abilities preview with more details as we get closer to the launch of Season 23. So I probably wouldn't expect to see anything on that until like end of October, beginning of November.
Yeah.
That feels like a pretty safe time to decide that. And man, we really we should talk about this. Raid contest mode disables. This was put all the way down here instead of up in the raid section, which is kind of weird to me.
Yeah, this should have been up in the
Tessellation has been nerfed for the raid race. Warlock Weave Walk aspect, it's currently disabled in all raids and PvP activities as it is. The Titan Banner of War aspect, the Foe Tracer Exotic Hunter Helmet, the Elemental Munitions mod, and the Overload Hand Cannon mod have all been nullified within the raid for the World's First and contest mode clears. So just so you know. And then the last thing that we really have to talk about here that we need to talk about. There's been some there were some complaints about Gallarhorn behaving kind of weird in this new season. Beginning with the launch of Season of the Witch, Gallarhorn's behavior was slightly altered. This was due to a recent fix to an issue causing projectiles to inadvertently damage immune enemies. The side effect of this fix has unintentionally impacted how Gallarhorn operates. Due to the boss DPS dominance, we had previously planned to dial down its damage in a future update. Because this unintentional change resulted in similar changes to those plans, the current behavior of Gallarhorn will be maintained while we monitor performance. It's kind of frustrating that they waited 10 days to tell us this.
Yeah.
This was an issue that most of us noticed immediately upon starting Season of the Witch.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's true. It was so dominant. You could see Dado posted a video of it when people were talking about, like, meta DPS, and he's like, it's rockets. How can you not say it's rockets? And it's him just beating the absolute dog shit out of the Ghost of the Deep boss using Galley.
Yeah.
And they one-phased it. So with that boss with all that health, they were. I mean, even on our first run, Nerd, Sammy, and I only had to do like 2.5 phases of damage to kill the boss.
Yeah.
That was on day one, not knowing what we were doing.
Yeah.
So
it's rockets.
It's rockets, guys. But I do find it very funny that they had it planned for a future update, which meant Galahor was still going to be dominant during the contest mode.
Yeah.
Now a bunch of us are like, I think it was Fallout today, was like, well, got to throw out half my script for raid loadouts now that they disable all this stuff. If you didn't think Banner of War was not getting disabled, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
That thing is absolutely absurd. John was running it the other night, and I just could not believe it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's a short, sweet, and to-the-point Schwab tonight.
Yeah, it's good, though, because we have a lot of questions.
We have a shitload of questions. Let's talk a little bit of story before we move to the questions.
Yeah.
So you have not had a chance to play this week's story, correct?
I didn't play it, but I watched it.
So
I wanted to be caught up for the show.
Yeah, we had some pretty important revelations here. It was a lot of dialogue this week.
Yeah.
We had a cutscene explaining the sword logic and kind of what Eris is doing. I know we've had some questions in the past on the sword logic. That is probably the best resource to go to if you don't want to watch like an hour-long Bife video. That's kind of like sword logic for dummies in like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the best of those like sketched out cutscenes that they've done. The artwork at the end of Eris receiving the tides is just bone chilling.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's a thing. So highly encourage you to go watch that if you haven't watched it. There's some great dialogue between Eris and Drifter, and Imaru drops some previously recorded dialogue from Savathun and Xivu Arath into our laps.
Yeah,
basically saying, I don't know if Savathun would want you to see this, but you should hear it. You should know what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And it's Savathun and Xivu Arath talking right after the death of Oryx. And Xivu wants to take revenge and this and that. And Savathun's basically like, well, that makes you, he died because he was weak, according to your logic. This makes you a heretic if you go to avenge him.
Yeah.
Showing Savathun was definitely already over the sword logic by that point.
Yeah.
But she kind of goes further. If you're listening to some of the dialogue during the Altars of Summoning, Amaru basically says if Xivu was smart, she would have teamed up with Savathun 8 eons ago, because the Witness wants to win without bloodshed. The Witness wants to win without war.
Yeah.
Essentially. And that's a problem when you've got a god that requires war tithing because of her worm god.
Yeah.
You have to feed the worm constantly. And that's part of why, Savathun had the murder battery set up in the Dreaming City.
Yeah.
To get around that pesky little, footnote.
Yeah.
So I think that's setting up a bunch of questions for where does this season go from here? We're 2 out of 7 weeks in. There's obviously a lot more to come. At what point do we start getting concerned about Eris and her role in all of this? And is there anyone who can kind of help guide her along that path? Because Ikora's never been there.
Yeah. As
we saw in the lore this week, I would read it. It's still encrypted. I'm going to have to just start screenshotting stuff.
Yeah.
And uploading it to my computer. But Elsie takes this very personally that we are allowing Eris to do this, because in the dark future, Eris turned into the Witch Queen and destroyed the tower, killed Ikora, etc.
Yeah.
She led the assault on the tower.
Yeah.
And so Elsie just remembers all that because she was in that dark timeline. She's forced to kill Anna. Yeah. Anna becomes a servant of Eris.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. We're seeing some of these character motivations play out and whatnot. And, with each week of the story, we're getting closer and closer to, the events of the final shape.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's not directly tied to the story for this week, but on that note, Joe Blackburn did an interview with PC Gamer this week, and it seemed to indicate that there's going to be 7 main missions in the final shape, and then there's going to be one that will only unlock after the raid. I don't think this means you have to physically do the raid to get the final mission.
Yeah.
Rather, what I think this is going to be is similar to how the Dreaming City was unlocked after the world's first Riven completion.
Yeah, I'm
I have
expecting
a
that too.
very strong feeling that's what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
So I'm a little curious to see how they handle that.
Yeah.
But that's supposed to be like the grand finale. I can't imagine they lock the grand finale of the Light and Darkness Saga behind you having to do a raid.
Yeah.
No matter if Fireteam Finder is in the game or not, I really can't imagine a scenario where maybe Bungie does that for an expansion, but not for the end of a 10-year storyline.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see how all this plays out because each week brings us closer. We don't know how many weeks of story is going to be in season 23, but we've got 5 weeks of story left here. We've got 1 dungeon still to come, and then whatever story is next season, and that's it.
Yeah.
We're on the precipice here. Like, is there a possibility that we deal with Xivu Arath this season? Like, I think we have to start considering that with how Eris is talking about, like, she is vengeance and this and that. Like, is she going to be the Hive God of Vengeance? We're going to talk about Ayat later on in the lore corner. We're going to go to the Books of Sorrow. We're going to go into Destiny 1 lore here.
Ooh.
But it's one of those things where, like, even I can't really say where I think we're going to go because, like, the Books of Sorrow are very complicated. That's why I always refer people to go watch Bife videos or Mylan videos on it because they have taken the time to sit down and understand, like, just what the fuck is going on here.
Yeah, Bife has put out a ton of videos lately. Like,
Bife has just been an absolute monster here at the beginning of the season. And he says he's going to get into a more regular rhythm after Crota comes out. So I'd encourage to stay up with him. In regards to those storylines. Not that we're not going to talk about them here, but ours are going to be very like surface level conversations compared to going as in depth as a guy with a whole channel built on video game lore is going to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And not just like a 5-minute section, but literally like 20, 25, 30-minute videos sometimes, even longer.
And like, I think that what they're doing with the story is really fascinating because I don't think any of us expected this at all.
I didn't.
We knew we were going to deal with like Xivu Arath and Savathûn this season. I don't think any of us expected Eris to have to become a hive god and for us to be tithing and this and that. The deck of many things.
Yeah,
it's real. The attunement system is really cool for Savathûn Spire. It adds a whole new level of interactivity, and I think there's going to be more secrets. There's areas you can't get to yet, even with the correct attunements.
Yeah,
that they're clearly going to unlock throughout. Last night, Johnny, Joe, and I did a legend Savathûn Spire. It gave us 800 rep for the season.
Oh wow, really?
That was wild. And there's no darkness zones until you get to the boss.
Yeah.
As long as you draw the correct boss, aka the one without the Shriekers, you're okay.
God, the Shriekers, man.
You can kind of just like hang out in the corner.
Yeah.
But no, I'm enjoying the challenge of the season. I'm enjoying the activities. I am happy that like the activities aren't like, oh my god, like I love these. I have to be doing these. Like I feel like I can do my like run or two a week of them.
Yeah.
And they just kind of go back to doing what I'm doing outside of Destiny because there's so many other things to play right now. Like I'm glad the story is still so engaging.
Yeah.
But I can come in, I can do my reset day of Destiny. And then if there's something like Iron Banner or like, Trials is going on, then okay, I'll pop in maybe for like an evening of PvP in the weekend at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like pretty good otherwise that like Bungie, for all their faults, really like does seem to respect our time when it comes to like core storytelling beats.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you don't have to go grind this out for like 10 hours a week to get the story. Nope, like an hour and a half is what we ask. Now, if you want the red borders and shit, get ready to grind.
Yeah.
But you want to just do this other stuff, cool. And like the reusing of content, I think, has also been good early on in the season. We're already reusing the lost sectors from the Throne World.
Yeah.
And new secrets there. And for us to be able to be doing that stuff is really, I think that's really important to the health of the game. Now, if we could just like extend that to the playlists, we'd be a lot happier.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Any thoughts on the story this week, on the Sword Logic cutscene? I know we're not really going over it just because, like, I think this is one of those very few cutscenes that, like, similar to the Witness one, like, this is one they need to put on that timeline, like, now.
Yeah.
They're going to have to put that on the timeline.
Yeah. I mean, my only thing is, like, I kind of have more questions now than answers, I think. I mean, obviously it's week 2. We're not going to get the answers in week 2, but like I feel like I just feel like I have so many questions about Air specifically now.
Yeah.
Like, are we like going to somehow maybe travel down at least part of the dark timeline? Are we going to have to like fight her at some point? Are we going to have to like bring her back down from, it's just, that's the only thing I have really, but it's just, it's crazy, man. The whole idea of her becoming a hive god is like, I mean, we knew she was kind of toying with hive magic, and the little green ball is like, oh, that's clearly something hive or darkness related. But the fact that, like, I mean, even last week when we saw like the big like things come out of her shoulders and the mask fall off,
yeah,
like it's nuts.
Yeah, I do wonder if like she's gonna maybe like I don't think we're gonna have to fight her. I think that would be like too much for a story beat in a season.
Yeah.
But like maybe we don't fully like exercise it from her at the end of the season, and like we have to deal with that in like post final shape content. Maybe that's like that episode that we see, the hive related episode.
Yeah.
I could very much see that happening. Because like there's not only this, there's also like, you have to remember, I don't think she stopped it. Sloane is slowly being taken.
Yeah.
I don't think her story is over quite yet. Like, who knows how that's going to play into, Asha's the one that steered us here in the first place.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious to see how all that plays out. The messages that we're getting through the radio station are more important than ever.
Yeah.
I encourage you to be listening to that stuff if you're not listening to them. I think they're actually forcing you to listen to them as part of the storyline now.
Yeah.
Because there's so much in there. And I'm curious to see like if maybe some of these side characters like Imaru become more important going forward.
Yeah.
Because, he's forming this reluctant alliance with us because it's what Savathun wanted him to do. But to what extent?
Right. The enemy of my enemy is my friend type scenario. And is that
it's like kind of all hands on deck at this point against the witness.
Yeah.
And it's kind of what he like refers to, like, well, none of us like him. You definitely are in Savathun's favor because you killed Rolk, and that's no easy task.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot to process this season, I think.
Yeah. Definitely.
One other thing, before we jump into just this insane amount of questions and a very strange lore corner, I played those memory missions that are on the timeline this week.
Yeah, I played the first one.
The free Monte Carlo. Yeah, I definitely see what they mean by these are not full missions. Mm-hmm. They just kind of like give you a taste of what those expansions were about.
Yeah.
It just made me really bummed that the Forsaken storyline isn't there to play through anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that it did for me. I do think it gives a good idea of what Cade was like, though, between the cutscenes that take place before and after it. They do give you the full Cade's Last Stand cutscene during it. You actually get a surprising amount of that mission there, but it's so easy.
Yeah,
it's like it's a joke, right?
Yeah.
The Beyond Light one is like discovering stasis powers, like you get to play around with them, and then the Throne World one is just kind of like fucking around with Deep Sight.
Yeah.
It's kind of like teaching you like some of the core mechanics of those two expansions. It's a good idea. It's a start, but this is still like really hollow for one of the campaigns being gone completely.
Yeah.
I think I would have liked it better if they would have had like missions from. If they had a couple of missions from Forsaken, because there's so many key things that happen there, like maybe have that and have the pursuit of Uldren in the Dreaming City.
Yeah.
I think both of those should have been there. Maybe the first fight against Fikrul.
Yeah.
And I think there should have been some stuff from the Red War as well.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this when we were...
The fact that the Homecoming mission and the taking back the tower are not playable... But there's so many... They basically have all the Red War cutscenes in these memory flashbacks. The fact that those are not playable is a sin.
Yeah.
It's just really... Like, overall, it's just really frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, when we were talking about maybe what Project Goliath was at some point, and we thought maybe it would be some sort of, like, streamlining of the campaigns. Like,
I'm still really hoping that that's the 10th anniversary announcement.
Yeah.
I'm huffing a lot of copium here.
And by that, he's chugging a Red Bull.
I'm drinking a Red Bull while I'm sick as a dog. Yeah, that's a terrible idea.
No, it's a great idea. Just get your heart pumping and sweat it out, Josh.
Yeah, I guess I would encourage you doing those missions if you somehow don't have Monte Carlo yet. Do them just for Monte Carlo. And there are 3 seasonal weapons you'll get. You get an Austringer, you get a Judgment of Kalgarath, and a whatever the stasis LMG was from Season of the Risen. You get one of each of those.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Whatever. Like you can deep sight them with your deep sight bucks, I guess.
Deep sight bucks.
All right. Let's jump in, Corey. We've got a lot of questions here.
Yeah, we do.
Let's do it. Link Chef writes in with our first question. I'm curious what would happen if we threw on some backseat game dev hats on you both and let you run. So let's start with this. If you got to design a seasonal activity, what would it be like? What enemies would you choose? What story theme? What vague mechanic would you use to facilitate gameplay? It's a big question, so feel free to be as general as you want to be. I'm going to let Corey think on this one.
Oh, I have one ready.
Oh, you have one?
Yeah.
Then go ahead, by all means.
Yeah.
I thought you would need some time.
No, I kind of skimmed these questions earlier, and I
Gotcha.
wanted to be ready because last week I wasn't ready for one of them, and then I just didn't have an answer. But yeah, so this one I would take. Speaking of like the timeline thing, we know Rise of Iron is not represented at all on this timeline. And so what I was thinking was some sort of like, I don't know, either flashback mission or brief mission. Maybe not a flashback, but some sort of mission to kind of show what Siva was. And because obviously we're not getting it at all now. And the only kind of Siva weapon we have is Outbreak Perfected. But maybe this would be a way to bring in another Siva weapon or something if you grinded it out, or if there was some sort of mission attached to it. But I'm thinking of the mechanics of the final boss of Wrath of the Machine.
Okay.
Not the same type of thing. I mean, you could run it by yourself, or with maybe it's some sort of
I think you have to dumb it down to where 3 people could do it. I think 3 to 6, but like not as punishing as that was.
Yeah, but like the boss would have like the boss of this encounter would have the same mechanics as that, and like, okay, you guys have to stand here, and one person goes left, one person goes right, one person kind of stays in the middle, and you kind of take down these shields, and then once the shields are down, these balls pop out, and you got to throw the ball into the hoop, if you will, and that will take the shields down from the boss. I think that would be super cool. And then kind of getting there, you know, I mean, maybe it's like some sort of spliced elixir or whatever the boss, maybe it's a giant captain, who knows. But getting there, like, maybe you would go through some sort of Warmind shelter thing that was hidden in the Plague Lands or whatever, and kind of go down and make your way through there. Maybe there's a sub boss, maybe there's, you know, big splicer bosses, like sub bosses or whatever. That would be my answer, I think. And you use that ball mechanic to kind of get through, like, you know how a lot of the strikes kind of teach you, or not strikes, but encounters in dungeons and stuff teach you the mechanic of the thing, and then the last encounter is usually the hardest. That's kind of how I would design an encounter.
So I want to borrow a page from the Sundial. I really like the concept of the Sundial. I just don't like that there were only like 2 variations of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Sundial, so I'm going to start with the Sundial itself. I think it's a really cool way to go back to like old events that we've done. Like, I think it would be really cool if you could have variations of events that we've done in the past. So like, instead of just one generic mechanic, it's a bunch of different ones. So like, I'd like for one to open up to the time that the Vex tried to invade the city in the Elixir Quarter. One open up to a random encounter in the Menagerie.
Yeah.
One open up to maybe like a Vex overload from the Black Garden. I think that would be a really cool way to experience past events without having to have those events in the game full time.
Yeah.
And that the rewards you would get from it would be associated with the respective seasons. And that'd be really cool. It'd be basically like Dares of Eternity, but a seasonal activity. And kind of goes beyond a seasonal activity. This is something I'd like to see added for like an anniversary event, maybe.
Yeah.
Like you could update it over time, like maybe like every season or two, you rotate out the events that are in there, and it keeps the loot pool kind of fresh and flowing.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thing. Like you would be able to get the best of the story themes. You'd be able to get and like you could do a 3-person or a 6-person one. Like you have a 3-person one where like, oh, you have to go do part of an expunge, or you have to do, part of a Savathun Spire or something, or part of a deep dive. Like there are cool things you can do here, I think, if you use the sundial as just like this kind of like goofy peek into the past of Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even goofy. Like, it's a very real thing. Like, the last city almost got destroyed over it. We saved Saint with it. Like, there are so many opportunities that you could use with this. Like, you could even use the sundial as, like, a machine to, like, be able to experience past stories of the Guardian and, like, go back to the campaigns that we haven't been able to play. Like, there's so much shit you can do. Bring back the sundial and bring back Mercury. The end.
Yeah.
Tiger Jesus writes in, do we get to use Red Death's bayonet when the exotic comes back? 100%. There's no way that they're not going to let you use that. It's on an exotic. The animation is already there because of Monte Carlo. They're going to let you.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Yeah.
It might not be there right away, but it'll be there.
Yeah. I also wonder if it will be like a alternate perk or something that you have to trade something out to use that.
Possibly. I don't think so. I think it'll probably be tied to a catalyst.
Yeah.
Just like personally. And then Tiger Jesus also asked, will we see legendaries also get bayonets? I'm going to say no.
Yeah, because I think if you're going to use that, I think that would almost make some legendaries too powerful. But I mean, I guess you could do that because you can technically shoot projectiles out of your glaives.
So here's my devil's advocate answer for why I don't think it should happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it should not happen because that's more of an exotic thing. I think multifunctionality is an exotic thing. I think when you're using legendaries, you need to choose. Do you want to use the AR or like Pulse or whatever? Or do you want to use Stabby Stab and go use the Glaive? The Glaive has the 2-in-1 functionality, like you said already. It's balanced pretty fairly, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my suggestion. Like, you probably just want to keep it as that. Like, until we start getting like better exotic Glaives, like leave that as an exotic perk, I would say.
Yeah.
Because have you seen how much damage the Monte Carlo bayonet does?
Yeah.
It does an absurd
ridiculous
amount. Yeah, I would personally do that.
Yeah.
Andre writes in, do you think at the end of the season Eris is actually going to be the big bad due to going crazy with power? I'm going to go no.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I mean, I'm not going to take it away that she might be like some sort of hive god by the end of this season or next.
Yeah.
But I think there's going to be some sort of like story reason or lore reason, like she's a guardian turning into a hive god, not just a regular hive or human or whatever, right? I think that's going to be able to like control how she, she's not going to become some sort of overpowered super hive god, right? Or at least a bad one, right? I don't think she's going to become the Eris that we've grown to know over the last decade, but I do think that she's going to stay a hive god and help us and become some sort of, able to control hive at some point.
Yeah, I think making her an antagonist this close to the final shape is just creating unnecessary problems.
Yeah.
We have so many other things that need to be resolved at this point that would probably shake my faith a little bit in Bungie storytelling if they did that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that she can't be an antagonist in the future, but as for the end of this season, I'm going to go with no.
Yeah.
I'm going to say if she does, it'll be post-final shape. But I really do feel like Eris' story is truly at an end.
Yeah.
I do think this is like we're writing the final chapters of it right now.
Yeah. I also wonder if like the power that she absorbs might kill her at the end at some point.
That's personally my theory.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I think, because I mean they're trying to make her strong enough to fight Ziva Wrath,
mm-hmm.
and Ziva Wrath is fucking huge.
Yeah.
But I think part of what keeps Eris also grounded is she, unlike the Hive siblings, unlike Arash, Zero, and I forget her name, Savathun, becoming their respective Hive god selves. All three of them gave into the temptation against the worm god, against like the Leviathan advice, mm-hmm. right? I think with Eris, it's different because she has Ikora, she has Elsie, she has Mara, she has the Guardian, she has Drifter. Like, she has so many pulling her back. Like, Imaru's kind of like goading her towards it, but because he knows that if she's off the board, Savathun's rise to power is going to be so easy.
Yeah.
Eris really is our best weapon against anything Hive. I think Imaru knows that, but also, like we discussed earlier, the enemy of the enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't want to see her go corrupt any more than the rest of us do. Like, he basically is like, oh, we need to keep an eye on her.
Mm-hmm.
So, Nerd writes in and asks, Nuggies or Tendies? Nuggies, man.
Nuggies? What are you talking
Nuggies
about?
all the way. All the way. Not even a question.
Spicy. The spicy ones from Wendy's, man.
I need spicy Chick-fil-A nuggets is what I need.
Yeah. Dude,
that might actually prove to be fatal for me, though.
Yeah, dude.
So
if Chick-fil-A got spicy nuggets, it would be the end.
I just lost my place. Titan Class writes in, I went back and rewatched the showcase, but during the part about Fireteam Finder, did y'all catch that one of the test players was wearing an emblem from Wrath of the Machine? Absolutely, we did.
Yeah.
Corey and I were very excited about it. We did not mention it on the post show, but we did catch that. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I think they had to give everybody a little bit of hope because so many of us expected that to be the raid this year.
Yeah, I think it's the reprise raid next summer.
It has to be. Yeah. It has to be. And if you're going to tease it in there, then they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing. 100% they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Jiggly Panda.
Jiggly Panda.
A couple of questions. If either of you had to draft a fantasy team with Discord members and Destiny characters for your fire team for a raid, who are y'all choosing?
Oh, God. So we have to pick, what, five people? Or,
yep, we have to pick 5 people.
So, like, people and Guardians or people or Guardians?
I'm saying people or Guardians. So people or Destiny characters.
Who's going
I'll let you have the first pick, Corey.
Okay. Well, I'm picking Zavala because I'm tired of being a Bubble Titan.
Wow. Rude. Rude. I'm going to the community.
That's fine.
Taking Joasis with my number 1 pick.
Oh, man, that's a good choice, man. We need that.
Taking Joasis. He's great. He's great on Overwatch duty. He's great at explaining mechanics. I'm taking Joasis with my number 1 pick.
Oh, man, that's good. That's a good one. You know what? I'm going to take Fox.
Wow. Rude.
I know the strategy here.
I'm going A1 Johnny with my next pick. I need a trusty Titan by my side. I need someone who's ready to pull out the bubble. I need someone who's ready to yeet. I need someone who's ready to pull out big hammers.
Yeah, man.
Big moments, big plays.
Yeah, it's
big shoulders. I need A1 Johnny.
Man, that's a good one. Man,
2 more picks.
Let's see. I am going to pick. Let's see. I have 2 Titans, so I need some sort of other type of character. You can't run 6 Titans.
I mean, you could.
I mean, we did.
It's frequently a triumph for these raids.
We did it for King's Fall last year. Oh man, you know what? I'm gonna take Nerd.
You're gonna take Nerd, okay?
Yeah.
He needs the Wizarding Warlock himself.
I do, and he's also pretty decent at call-outs and
pretty decent.
Yeah.
You hear this slander, Nerd?
Look, Nerd, you're great. We couldn't be here without you. Don't let anybody fool you. Don't let Josh bring my compliment into a downer, okay? This isn't a 7 out of 10 for Starfield, okay? I'm going Nerd.
I'm gonna venture into the Destinyverse for my next one. I need a Warlock on my team.
You do.
Okay. So I'm gonna take the most powerful conjurer in the Destiny universe. I'm taking Mara Sov.
Ooh. Interesting.
I'm taking Mara with me. She's gonna be a great leader. We're gonna get in, we're gonna get out. She's got no time for bullshit or dilly-dallying. The downside is she doesn't have a ghost. But she's so powerful, I don't think I need a ghost.
No, you don't need a ghost. I feel like I need to venture back into the Destiny verse now. What do I have? 2 Titans, did I say? That's me and Zavala. And let's see. I have a Hunter. I have a Warlock. You know what? I'm going back Titan. Going back Titan.
This is your last choice, by the way.
Is it? Oh yeah,
Yep.
because they said pick 5.
Yep.
He gets 5. Okay. I'm going Titan. I'm going some Saladin. He's got some rage.
Saladin.
He's got some rage. He's got some, he's methodical. He's got that giant axe that he can take out, many ads. Many ads. So that's my pick.
My final pick. So I'm gonna stick with the Destiny verse here. My final pick, man. So I've got a Titan on my team. I've got a Jack of all trades on my team.
Mm-hmm.
In Joasis. I've got Marasav with me.
Mm-hmm.
I am a hunter. My last member I'm going to choose. I feel like I need one more Jack of all trades here. I need one more guy who can do just anything that is asked of him, regardless of what that may be.
You're not picking Lord Shax.
I'm picking Saint 14.
Ooh, that's a good one.
The
man.
actual Saint 14, not Saint 14 in the Discord. Sorry, I love you, buddy. I'm taking Saint 14, the bubble extraordinaire.
It's true. Should have picked him. Man. Yeah.
Give me a bench guy. If you had a guy on a bench, say somebody is sick. Say somebody comes down with a horrible case of the flu, like some of us may or may not have right now.
Oh.
Who would be a guy off the bench?
Oh man. Do I want someone serious who's going to take this raid seriously, or do I want someone that makes me laugh? Or
I mean, that's up to you, buddy.
I mean, you always need that one guy,
You need a glue guy. You need like your motivator.
Yeah. You know who's a good motivator? You know who's always positive? Always slinging one-liners in the Discord?
Crow?
No.
Oh, in the Discord.
Yeah.
No.
I think I'm gonna put Ronnie on the bench.
Oh, Ronnie. Okay.
He's the sixth man. He's always cheering you on. He's always.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Ronnie.
I'm gonna stay in the Destiny verse. God help me. I'm gonna go because we never specified if they had to be living or dead.
Ooh.
I'm going Cade 6.
Yeah. Well, we don't know if he's dead anymore.
Yeah, I'm pulling Cade 6 off the bench. Nice. I want a jack of all trades. I want a guy who's not afraid to throw down. I want a guy who's funny. Someone who's definitely going to bring the beer and popcorn.
Yeah.
I'm ready. So those are our fire teams that we would choose for raids. And then Jiggly Panda also asks us, recently listened to the 4th episode of Xbox Casuals. Great show. It's great to hear Josh rant about other games. I was wondering if you guys had any plans on making a PlayStation podcast like PlayStation Casuals. We do not.
No, we don't have any other plans.
We don't have time, first off.
Yeah.
Because we like to actually enjoy the games. There's Xbox Casuals is every other week because we want to be able to still enjoy playing games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's too much to dedicate. Corey has other shows beyond just these two as well.
Yeah.
And other obligations as a dad and, as a husband and things like that. Also, like, neither one of us is super passionate about PlayStation.
Yeah.
We have our PlayStations to play the exclusives, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, Xbox, we've both been, like, fully in the ecosystem for, like, 15, 20 years now.
Yeah. By the way, did you see PlayStation Plus went up?
I saw PlayStation Plus went up. That is
gross.
A 33% hike on all tiers.
That's so gross, man.
It's not great.
So I canceled my extra tier today. So whenever it runs out, it runs out. I'm thinking about canceling.
I went in and canceled mine yesterday.
I'm thinking about canceling the normal one.
I won't sign up for normal either. Normal for $80 is a war crime.
Yeah.
That and the PlayStation handheld also went up. The streaming only handheld.
Oh yeah.
The Wii U gamepad for the PS5.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about that at some point.
That's wild. That's gonna have to go in our the other side conversation.
Yeah.
Hail Hydra writes in. We know the first episode, the final shape, is Vex themed, aka Echoes. What are you hoping for story wise for it? To me, there's a lot of mystery around them, and if we're going to be Vex focused, it needs to be done right instead of just Cabal or on Neomuna and look, robots. I'm hoping it's time travel. We talk to the number one hottest character, the Exo Stranger, and get to finally see who she was talking to in Destiny 1. So this is a really hard question for me to answer without us seeing exactly what we're going to do in Destiny: The Final Shape.
Yeah.
Because I do think that, like, the obvious answer here is something having to do with the Black Garden.
Mm-hmm.
That is still one of the biggest mysteries, I think, of Destiny is, like, well, what exactly is the Black Garden? We know it's, supposed to be, like, the birthplace of the Vex, but...
Yeah.
Or not the birthplace of the Vex, but, like,
Yeah.
It's weird. I'd love to go to the Vex Forge, but I don't think that's going to be in an episode. That would be a brand new destination. That's like something you put into the next saga.
Yeah. Yeah, because like that's really the only thing that we haven't resolved is the Vex stuff, right? Like, I mean,
yeah,
we are obviously allies with the Elixni and the Cabal now, right? Know, parts of them at least. And then it kind of looks like the Hive story. The Hive story is probably going to be over regardless after the Final Shape. It's any meaningful Hive story, I guess, at least. Until they introduce new storylines.
There is. It does appear that there can be a Hive themed episode.
Yeah.
But I think questions like this are really hard. And it's not that I don't want to answer them. It's just that I think they're really hard to even speculate on until we know exactly what's going to happen next season and in the Final Shape. I expect the Vex to be first and foremost in the next expansion that we get.
Yeah.
They kind of have to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Vex, and you're exactly right. The Vex were kind of shoehorned in on Lightfall, but that's largely because they usually have two factions that you're fighting in these.
Mm-hmm.
And they've kind of run out of Cabal and Elixni bodies to throw at us at this point.
Yeah.
I would like to see more on the Vex. I think the Vex are like the most space magic-y part of this, because largely a lot of the Destiny Light and Dark saga has revolved around the Hive.
Yeah.
And I'm over the Hive at this point.
Yeah.
And I really hope that even if the Hive aren't like fully defeated, I hope that they just take a back seat for a while.
Yeah.
I'd like them to take a back seat. Them and the Taken, I need to take a pretty big back seat going into the next saga.
Yeah.
But I am really hoping that the Vex are front and center for that.
Mm-hmm.
And they also ask, would you rather do the carnivore diet for a month or go vegan for a month? I'm going vegan. Sorry.
Man,
I can't eat that much meat without getting sick. So
yeah, I mean, I've pretty, unless I'm cooking a hamburger at home, like I've completely ended eating red meat.
Yeah, I'll have a steak maybe like twice a year.
Yeah,
and unless I'm having a burger, I'm not eating red meat.
Yeah.
So,
well, tacos, I guess, but I don't know if that really counts.
I don't really count that though.
Yeah,
I don't count if it's like ground beef. I don't really count.
Yeah,
personally.
But yeah, I mean, man, I only eat birds. If that.
Yeah, we eat a lot. We eat a lot of chicken and fish.
Yeah, chicken and turkey and
that would be like, would be hard for me to go do on vegan, but I feel like I could still do it. Like, there's enough options there. I would call up our friend Colonel Panic, who's a vegan. I would call him up and get some suggestions to get through the month.
Give us the list. 30-day vegan diet.
Andre writes in and asks, "What is the sword logic?" My friend, you can go watch this week's cutscene.
Yeah,
that will explain all. That will give you like a boilerplate explanation of it, and then beyond that, I would recommend reading some Bife and Mylan, watching some Bife and Mylan videos. We have discussed it in the past. It is really hard for me to condense down into like 2 or 3 sentences. I would say probably the easiest way to explain the sword logic is it's a tithing system where basically power is the victor and the lesser combatants are fed to feed the strength. Ultimately, everything is a tithe system. It's a tribute system within the Hive. That's what the sword logic is.
Yeah.
It's a fancy way of saying it's a tribute system.
Yeah.
So that's why you have things like murder batteries going in the Dreaming City. Joasis asks, what Crota weapon are you most excited to craft and why is it Swordbreaker? It's what is it? Is it Fang of Ear Yet? Is that the LMG?
No, that's the scout rifle.
Okay, well, I do want Fang of Ear Yet. I want whatever the LMG is, Song of Ear Yet. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, it's something.
But I'm very excited to craft that. LMG was one of my absolute favorites in D1. I'm really excited to craft it, especially if they give me Volt Shot on it. I will be running that constantly. That thing was a blast.
Yeah, I'm looking it up because I'm No, Song of Uriut is the heavy machine gun.
That's the one I'm thinking of. Song of Uriut.
Yeah.
That's the one that I want.
Yeah.
Very excited. What about you, Corey?
I mean,
as a Crota veteran,
I love Fang of Uriut. I love the scout rifle. I used it all the way up until we like D1 stuff was retired.
That's fair. Nerd is asking for updated raid rankings. Give them. I will say, hold your bippy. Early next week, we will have updated raid rankings.
Yeah.
On the next episode, we're gonna do them once we've had time to reflect on D2 Crota.
Yeah.
Whoever I bring in for the review, I have not decided that yet. Whoever I bring in to review with me, we will do an updated list of raid rankings. And then Corey and I will give our definitive ones post final shape.
Yeah.
We'll have a discussion on that one once we can look back at the whole saga.
Yeah.
Hail Hydra again writes in and says, I'm seeing two opinions in the community. 1, kill Savathun again as soon as we revive her. Or 2, have Savathun help since we know from lore now she hates the Witness and would help us. Are you team kill the witch or team new friend? Team new friend.
Yeah, team new friend. The Witness.
We need everyone possible to fight the Witness, to get through the portal.
Mm-hmm.
There's still story beats to come. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I'm not saying that, we like her, but she does have this odd respect for our Guardian in particular.
Yeah.
Because we crushed Crota, we crushed Oryx, we have killed so many Hive lieutenants and generals at this point, they got to be running out of them. If nothing, Bungie's naming department has to be running out of names here. We basically have wiped out the entire hierarchy of an entire alien race of gods, of death gods that have been around for 30,000 years. And she's like, well played. Well played. You also didn't destroy my ghost when you had the chance. Well played. And, hey, what do you know? It's actually a good thing we didn't crush Amaru. I'm team new friend. Team new friend, of course, 100%.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah. So I would like to kill her, but the reward of not killing her is greater.
Yeah.
We need the knowledge that she has, even though she backed up so much of it.
Yeah.
This was like a multi-year scheme on her part. Like basically from the minute Oryx died, she started putting plans into motion here.
Yeah. I wonder actually, because you want her as a friend, and she's obviously going to be some sort of ally going towards the Witness, but I wonder if the Witness kills her and that's how she exits the story.
I've been pretty vocal that I'd love a throwdown between Xivu and Savathun.
Yeah.
I even wonder if it could be like Savathun and Eris versus Xivu.
Yeah.
And then, like, maybe Eris and Savathun take each other out. I don't know. Like, oh, well, Xivu's out of the picture. Let's just get it over with.
Yeah.
Let's throw down now to take both of them off the board before the final shape.
Yeah.
But it feels pretty clear that we're, like, trying to thin the Witness's ranks right now.
Mm-hmm.
Which leaves Aramis as the big question mark.
Yeah.
What's going on with Aramis? So I hope that if Eris exits the story, or even when Savathun does, that they are given a much more gracious and like better exit than Amanda Holiday.
Yeah.
Which is still so bad. They clearly wanted stakes and it just did not work.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to do it for our questions tonight.
Yeah. I actually wonder if when the Witness is defeated, if that's just going to naturally end maybe Aramis's story at some point, or
I think if there's any of the villains, quote unquote, that are going to be redeemed, it's Aramis's redemption arc is sitting right there.
Yeah.
She hesitated on firing the Warsat lasers, and that was just enough time for Anna to override everything.
Yeah.
She's really only doing it out of fear of the Witness being behind her.
Yeah.
And then basically when, then she went to go do it and it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
She told Mithrax what was going to happen and basically saved Mithrax's life.
Mm-hmm.
By teleporting in behind him and throwing up stasis.
Yeah.
So I don't think that it's as cut and dry with Aramis. I do think they're setting up for a redemption arc of some kind.
Yeah.
Whether that leads to, her becoming a guardian or her dying. There's only so many characters we can bring back, villains we can bring back via ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
We've already done it with Savathun. We've done it with Crow. I don't think we can really do that card again. Mm-hmm. It's the idea of anybody being brought back with a ghost is now feeling like a crutch that we're on. It's like when streaming was first starting out and shows were getting canceled, and you were hoping that like Hulu or Netflix would pick it up, a la Arrested Development.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we saw like, how that turned out.
You know, a streamer will save it. A streamer will save it. You know, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a really big example of that.
Yeah,
like someone's going to save it, and I don't want that to become a crutch. Like having a ghost it's a special thing. It's a special responsibility.
Yeah.
And we've all, you know, I think we're all of the opinion that, you know, if there is a Elixni risen, it's going to be Mithrax.
Yeah.
It's going to be Mithrax, assuming his destiny is the Kell of Kells.
Yeah. And considering what Ido's journal is part of the collector's edition, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's going to be Ido. You know, we kind of discussed that during Plunder, I guess. But I think it has to be Mithrax.
It's got to be Mithrax. But we've got our 6 months of speculating on that one to do.
Yeah.
So,
Josh, you forgot the most important question.
I did not. I deliberately ignored it.
It's GIF, by the way.
It's GIF.
Yeah. I can't. I don't care. The creator's wrong. He said GIF. The creator of the GIF said GIF, and
it's GIF.
It's wrong.
It's GIF. He's wrong.
He's wrong.
Corey, let's take a trip to the lore corner.
Lore corner.
We're going to reach all the way back to the Taken King on this one. Shout out to Joe Aces for pointing me in this direction, by the way.
Joe Aces.
He sent it to me the other night saying, I bet you already got lore corner playing now. I was like, I do not, as a matter of fact. But he sent it to me, and I'm glad he did. And we're going to read it. We're going to just say, fuck it, we'll do it live.
Doing it live.
This is from the Books of Sorrow. XLVIII, which translates to 48. Ayat. Verse 5-6. Ayat. All is well. Ayat. What is at war is healthy. What is at peace is sick. My son Crota feeds me rich tribute. My lineages are strong. My worm is vast and satiated. And with that security, I can spend my time on studying communion with the deep. As I learn more secrets, my power grows. As my power grows, I use it to learn more secrets. Ayat. Let it be thus because it must. I wonder if my sisters have secrets of their own. If my power exceeds theirs, I may kill them permanently and subsume their thrones. But I think they have strength that they hide from me, developed in time of separation. Ayat. The only meaningful relationship is the attempt to destroy. Savathun asks if I have as much a slave of the deep as my Taken. She asks what price I pay for my power. I am not Taken. The hive is not the deep. The deep doesn't want everything to be the same. It wants life. Strong life. Life that lives free without the need for a habitat of games to insulate it from reality. When I make my Taken, I make them closer to perfect. I heal their wounds and enhance their strengths. This is inherently good. Ayat. The only right is existence. The only wrong is non-existence. I am Oryx, the first navigator, the Taken King. Ayat. Let me be what I am, because to be anything else would be fatal. So I think this is really cool. First off, that this is Oryx speaking, and obviously speaking about Savathun way back in 2015 is when this came out. This is when this was first in the game. In the calcified fragments you could find aboard Oryx's Dreadnought. And I think it's really important that they keep bringing up Ayat. There's this recurring theme that Ayat is essentially war is all there is to existence. Basically, gaining power is all there is. So when you hear Eris chanting that's essentially what she's essentially channeling that belief that through tribute comes strength, through strength comes power, through power comes war, through war comes strength, and that is really dangerous. That's really dangerous. And if it was anybody other than Eris, I'd probably be a little more concerned. Well, I'd 100% be more concerned. With Eris, though, you have to remember she's the only one who can truly think like the Hive after she spent all those years in the Hellmouth trying to escape. They're watching her fire team get slaughtered. She's overcome her demons. She was the one who helped us infiltrate the pyramid on the moon. She went back there, and that's where she found the power of stasis for the first time. She communed with it, and, got her creepy little green orb that she uses all the time. She stole an acolyte's eyes, and that's what she uses to see now. Like, There's nobody more in touch with the Hive without actually becoming Hive than Eris until this moment.
Yeah.
So for Eris to be doing that, that's clearly part of the ritual that she knows that, like, and Savathun knew also when we were going to undertake this, that we basically, in order to beat Xivu Arath, we have to think like Xivu Arath.
Right.
So it's funny that Oryx kind of leaves the instructions in a way.
Yeah.
For this, but also like with his, his specific guidelines, what he saw as heretical and what it wasn't. Like it shows even here, we don't know much about Savathun, but knowing what we know now, like Savathun already had strayed from this way of thinking eons ago.
Mm-hmm.
She had strayed from it before the first collapse.
Yeah.
So I think this is interesting. I'm going to read through a lot more of the Books of Sorrow, I think, coming up over the next week or two, because I want to do more of a dive into them to see if there's some more context clues here. But yeah, I think that's the biggest takeaway. And it's probably one of the biggest takeaways of the season already, is just what exactly does Ayat mean in the terminology that Savathun and by extension Eris are using it as. And it basically is what we say, basically power is everything.
Uh-huh.
Without power, you have nothing and you can't hope to compete. So Eris is essentially going to try to channel the power of tributes into her body, and well, we'll see how that one goes.
Right.
So,
guess we'll find out.
That's going to do it for Lorcan Ayat.
Ayat. Is that the name of the episode?
I don't know. I just feel like I said it enough times. We do have before we get out of here, there was one more tweet from Bungie that came out from Bungie Help. In addition to the items announced in today's TWID, the following items will also be disabled during the world's first race for Crota's End. Traits and functionality in the following items will nullify game-wide with additional negative impacts to power levels if equipped. And those include Overload Hand Cannon, and that's in Crota's End only, Frenzied Stacks Artifact mod, and all Ammo Reserve mods, and all Font Armor Charge mods. So that's a lot. I know a lot of us have really built into ammo reserves. I personally have. This is probably to combat the fact that people like Joe Aces can get 14 fucking rockets on their rocket launcher.
Yeah.
With bipod. So
that guy.
Keep that in mind. If you've listened all the way through this and you plan on doing a contest attempt, keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, good luck, everybody, on your raid attempts this weekend. I will be cheering you on from the sidelines. Got a lot of stuff going on this weekend, so no raid for me. But I'm excited to hear about it next week and learn what's new and what's different and what's exactly the same. So
yeah,
but
I'm excited.
Yeah. But Josh, what do you say we get out of here?
Let's get out of here. My nose is starting to really itch and it's starting to run a little bit. So
yeah. So I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this episode of Tower Casuals. If you want to hear Josh and I rant about other games, check out Xbox Casuals. It's on the same YouTube channel and on your favorite podcast app. Even if you type in Tower Casuals, it will show up. So
we've also had a request for a questions thread for Xbox Casuals, and I forget who it was that was requesting it. I want to say it was Hail Hydra was asking in the Discord earlier. I told him that we would put one up as we get closer to recording.
Yeah.
Xbox Casuals. We'll put that up. I'll post it in the podcast feed. I'm not gonna blast everyone.
Yeah.
With it, but we will. We'll put one up.
Yeah.
See how it goes for right now.
Yeah. Especially because we really do want to keep the Discord primarily a Destiny community because we are doing the Xbox podcast because we enjoy it, but Discord is still going to primarily be Destiny. If you want to talk about Xbox games, there's a general games channel at the bottom with some of the more popular games.
And we do have a Starfield channel.
Yeah.
I created one yesterday.
Yeah. So, but Josh, thank you for your time tonight, as always, especially since you're kind of sick. So,
very sick.
Where can we find you?
You can still find me on Twitter at Josh_fan. And you can find me in Discord, of course.
Yeah. You can find me at I am Corey HD on social media and Tower Casuals at Tower Casuals, Xbox Casuals at Xbox Casuals. If you feel like following, I usually just put everything through the Tower Casuals feed, though. Anyways, thanks everybody for watching and or listening. Until next time, we love you. Goodbye. Starfield time.